Hey there, wise and wonderful folks. Did you know that by 2030, 1 in every 5 people in the US will be over 65? That's right, us silver-haired superstars are taking over. But here's the kicker. When it comes to where we're going to live out our golden years, most of us hear nursing home and think, oh great, a place where the food's mushy, the walls are beige, and the only excitement is bingo night. Well, I've got news for you. There's a better way. Welcome to Advice for the Elderly. I'm your name, your guide to living life to the fullest, no matter how many candles are on your cake. Today, we're diving into 6 better solutions than nursing homes that are not only easier on your wallet but will keep you smiling ear to ear. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll be ready to ditch the nursing home brochures and embrace a happier, more affordable future. Let's get started. Now, before we jump into these 6 awesome alternatives, let me set the stage. Nursing homes can cost anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 a year. Yep, you heard that right. That's a lot of dough for lukewarm oatmeal and a roommate who snores like a freight train. But don't worry, I've scoured the options, talked to real people, and found solutions that let you keep your independence, your cash, and your sense of humor. So, grab a cup of tea, or a glass of something stronger, and let's explore these 6 game changers. First, hey there wise and wonderful folks, let's kick things off with our first better solution than nursing homes: co-housing communities. Now I know what you might be thinking, co-housing sounds like some fancy newfangled thing for hipsters with too many houseplants, but trust me, this is perfect for us seasoned pros who still want a little fun in our lives. So picture this: you've got your own cozy little space, a kitchen where you can whip up your famous meatloaf, a bedroom with that lumpy pillow you refuse to replace, and yes, even a shelf for your collection of porcelain cats or whatever quirky treasures you've been hoarding for decades. But here's the twist: you're surrounded by a small neighborhood of folks just like you, people who actually want to chat over coffee or play a round of cards on a Tuesday night. It's like a college dorm, but instead of cramming for exams, we're swapping stories about the good old days, and trust me, our stories are way better than anything those youngsters could come up. So how does this whole co-housing thing work? Well, it's pretty simple. You've got your private apartment or cottage, nothing huge, just enough to keep you comfy, and then there are shared spaces, a big community kitchen where you can cook up a storm with your neighbors, a garden where you might accidentally grow the world's ugliest zucchini and laugh about it together, or even a game room where you can finally prove you're the reigning champ of Scrabble. Those common areas are the magic because they bring everyone together without forcing you to give up your alone time when you need it. And let's be real, sometimes you just want to sit in your recliner and yell at the TV in peace. Right now, here's the best part: co-housing cuts your living costs by a ton. Studies say it can save you up to 30% compared to a nursing home because you're splitting bills like utilities or maintenance with the group. That means more money in your pocket for important things like spoiling your grandkids or buying that extra bag of Werther's Originals you know you deserve. I talked to a real co-housing rock star named Betty. She's 72 and lives in a community in Oregon. She told me she hasn't laughed this much since her husband tried line dancing back in the 80s, and let me tell you, that mental image alone is worth the price of admission. Betty said her days are full of potlucks, movie nights, and trading gossip with her neighbors. She's got a little 1-bedroom spot all to herself, but when she wants company, it's right there waiting. No need to call ahead or put on fancy pants. Plus, she's saving a bundle compared to what her sister pays at some stuffy assisted living place where the most exciting thing is arguing over who gets the armrest during bingo. So think about it: economical, because you're not shelling out 50 grand a year for beige walls, and mushy peas. Happy because you've got built-in buddies who get you. Could co-housing be your next big move? I mean, who wouldn't want a life where the only drama is whether Carl cheated at poker again? Now I've got a friend who visited a co-housing spot in Colorado, and he said it felt like walking into a big family reunion minus the awkward hugs from cousins you don't remember. These places are popping up all over the country from California to Maine, and they're designed with us in mind. Think single-story layouts, wide doorways, and plenty of benches for when your knees decide to take a coffee break. Some even have little workshops or art studios so you can finally finish that birdhouse you started in 1992, or paint something that your kids will pretend to love. It's all about keeping your independence while having a safety net of friends nearby. And if you're worried about the cost, some co-housing communities even offer rental options so you don't have to buy in outright. It's like dipping your toes in the water before you cannonball into the pool. So what do you say? Could you see yourself trading nursing home blues for a co-housing crew? That's solution number 1, folks. And trust me, we're just getting started. Second, Alright folks, let's move on to our second better solution than nursing homes, accessory dwelling units, or as I like to call them, granny pods with pizzazz. Now I can already hear you saying, granny pods, what am I, a garden gnome? But hold on to your hats because this one's a game changer. Imagine a tiny house parked right in your kid's backyard, close enough to pop over and borrow a cup of sugar or steal a cookie from the jar, but far enough that you don't have to hear their 6 a.m. Zumba music blasting through the walls. It's the perfect setup. You get to stay near family for that warm, fuzzy feeling without being so close that you're roped into refereeing their arguments about who forgot to take out the trash. These little homes are popping up all over the place, and they're a total win-win for us folks who want to keep our independence without breaking the bank or losing our minds. So what exactly is an accessory dwelling unit? Well, it's a small self-contained living space, usually between 400 and 800 square feet. Think of it like a mini version of your house, a little kitchen where you can still burn toast if you want to, a bathroom with a shower that doesn't require a PhD to operate, and a bedroom big enough for your favorite rocking chair and that stack of mystery novels you've been meaning to read. You can build one of these beauties for anywhere between $20,000 and $100,000 depending on how fancy you want to get. Some folks go basic with just the essentials, while others trick it out with skylights and a porch for sipping lemonade. Now here's the kicker, it's a one-time cost, no monthly rent, no nursing home fees that creep up every year like a bad penny. You own it outright and it's yours to enjoy, plus you're right there with family, so if you need a hand with something, they're just a holler away, but you've still got your own front door to shut when your son-in-law starts ranting about politics over dinner. I talked to my pal George, he's 78 and built an ADU in his daughter's backyard in Texas. He told me he's got his freedom, his Wi-Fi, and his grandkids bring him cookies on the regular. What's not to love? He said he spent about 40 grand to get it set up, nothing too flashy, just a comfy spot with a little TV for watching his westerns and a kitchenette where he makes his famous chili. Now George used to worry about being a burden to his kids, but with his granny pod he's got his own space. And they've got theirs. He even jokes that he's the cool neighbor who doesn't complain about the noise. It's economical because you're not shelling out thousands every month for some sterile facility, and it's happy because you're close to the people who matter most without losing that sweet, sweet privacy. Could you picture yourself in a little pod of your own sipping coffee while the grandkids play tag outside? Now let's talk practical stuff for a sec. These ADUs are super flexible. Some folks build them from scratch, others buy prefab kits that snap together like Lego for grown-ups, and a lot of cities are making it easier to add them to your property with fewer pesky zoning rules. You can customize it to fit your style, maybe a bright red door because you've always wanted one, or a tiny garden patch for growing tomatoes that you'll brag about at Thanksgiving. Plus, if you ever decide to move, you can sell it with the house or even rent it out for extra cash. My cousin Linda put one in her yard for her mom, and now that her mom's traveling the world, Linda's got a tenant paying her $500 a month. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. So there you have it, solution number 2, affordable, cozy, and full of pizzazz. Who needs a nursing home when you've got a granny pod calling your name? Alright folks, let's dive into our third better solution than nursing homes, shared housing. Now I can already hear you groaning, roommates at my age, are you kidding me? I'd rather share a bunk with my old cat Whiskers and his hairballs than deal with some stranger leaving socks on the couch. But hold your horses, because this isn't about reliving your 20s with pizza boxes and loud music. This is about finding a kindred spirit to split the rent, the chores, and maybe even a few laughs. Think of it as a golden years buddy system where you get all the perks of company without the nursing home price tag or the beige wallpaper that makes you feel like you're living in a giant oatmeal bowl. So let's break this down and see why shared housing might just be the ticket to a happier and cheaper life. Here's how it works. You team up with 1 or 2 other folks to rent a house or an apartment together. You've each got your own bedroom, maybe even your own bathroom if you're lucky, and you share the common spaces like the kitchen or living room. Now, before you picture some chaotic reality show scenario, there are websites like Silvernest that match you with compatible housemates. It's like eHarmony for the over 60 crowd, but instead of candlelit dinners, you're looking for someone who won't hog the remote or eat your stash of chocolate chip cookies. You split the costs, so instead of shelling out $2,000 a month to live solo, you might only pay $800. That's a huge chunk of change saved, and it means you can afford that fancy coffee creamer or an extra trip to the casino with your pals. Plus, you've got someone around to watch Jeopardy with, or to call out, hey, can you open this darn pickle jar for me? Because let's face it, those lids are getting trickier every year. I talked to Joan, she's 69 and living the shared housing dream. She told me her housemate is this sweet lady named Carol who makes killer lasagna and they trade cooking nights like a well-oiled machine. Joan handles breakfast because she's got a pancake recipe that could win awards, and Carol takes dinner with that lasagna that's so good Joan swears it's the secret to eternal youth. They split the rent on a cute little house with a porch perfect for sipping tea and watching the world go by. Joan said it's cheaper than a nursing home by miles and way more fun because instead of staring at a wall all day, she's got a built-in friend to trade stories with. She even admitted they once stayed up past midnight giggling over old photo albums like a couple of teenagers at a sleepover. Economical, you bet. Happy, absolutely. Could you handle a roommate who's more partner in crime than pain in the neck? Now let's get real for a second. Shared housing isn't just about saving money, it's about keeping loneliness at bay. We've all had those days where the house feels too quiet and the only conversation is with the TV weatherman who doesn't even know you're yelling back at him. With a housemate, you've got someone to share the little moments like complaining about the neighbor's yappy dog or celebrating when you finally figure out how to use that newfangled streaming thing on your TV. And if you're worried about privacy, you set the ground rules up front. Maybe you agree to knock before barging in, or you divvy up fridge shelves so your ice cream stays safe. Some folks even find housemates who love the same hobbies. Imagine a knitting buddy or someone to argue with about who's the best James Bond. It's obviously Sean Connery, but that's a debate for another day. So what do you think? Could shared housing turn your golden years into a golden friendship? That's number 3, folks, and we've got plenty more to explore. Alright folks, we're on to our 4th better solution than nursing homes, and this one's a real gem. It's called senior villages. Now don't get confused, this isn't some gated community with a moat and a drawbridge, although that would be pretty cool. It's actually a movement, a way to stay in your own home sweet home while having a whole neighborhood of people looking out for you. Think of it like the good old days when your neighbor would knock on your door with a plate of cookies just to say hi only. Now they might also drive you to the doctor or help you figure out why your TV remote stopped working. Senior villages are all about keeping you independent but not alone, and let me tell you, that's a combo that's hard to beat when you're trying to avoid the nursing home shuffle. So how does this work? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You sign up to join a village and pay a small annual fee, usually somewhere between $200 and $500. That's less than what some folks spend on coffee in a year, or in my case, those little bags of peanut butter cups. I can't resist. With that fee, you're part of a network of neighbors and volunteers who pitch in to help each other out. Need a ride to the grocery store? Someone's got you covered. Got a leaky faucet that's been dripping since the Clinton administration? There's a guy named Dave who's handy with a wrench. Want to get to your bingo night without wrestling with that newfangled rideshare app? Your village buddy Carol will swing by with her minivan. It's like having a team of sidekicks who don't wear capes but might show up with a casserole, and some villages even sweeten the deal by negotiating discounts with local businesses, so you're saving cash on everything from prescriptions to that haircut you've been putting off for 3 months. I talked to a guy named Tom. He's 81 and part of a senior village in Ohio, and he couldn't stop raving about it. He told me he's still living in the house he's been in for 40 years, the one with the creaky porch swing and the mailbox that's seen better days, but now he's got a crew to lean on. Last week they threw him a birthday party complete with cake and a slightly off-key rendition of Happy Birthday. He said it's the best of both worlds. He gets to stay where he's comfortable, surrounded by his old photo albums and that ugly lamp his wife loved, but he's not stuck figuring everything out on his own. Studies back this up too. They say 90% of seniors in villages stay independent longer than those who go it alone, and it costs peanuts compared to assisted living where you're shelling out thousands just to have someone tell you it's time for bed. So economical, you bet. Happy? Oh, absolutely. Now here's the fun part. Senior villages aren't just about practical stuff, they're about keeping life interesting. Some of them organize book clubs or gardening groups so you can finally read that novel you've been meaning to get to, or grow tomatoes that don't look like they've been through a war. I heard about one village in California where they started a weekly poker night, and let me tell you, those folks take their bluffing seriously. It's all about building a community that feels like family, without the guilt trips from your actual relatives. And the best part is you don't have to move anywhere, you're already home, just with a little extra support to keep you going strong. So could you see yourself joining a senior village? Imagine staying put but with a posse of pals ready to help out. That's number 4, folks, and it's a game changer. Alright folks, we're on to number 5, and this one's a real moneymaker: house hacking. Now before you start picturing me in a ski mask trying to break into my own garage, let me clear this up. House hacking isn't about anything sneaky, it's about turning that extra space in your home into a cash machine while you keep living your best life. So here's the deal: if you've got a spare bedroom, a basement that's just collecting dust bunnies, or even a garage that Hasn't seen a car since the Nixon administration. Why not rent it out? You stay right where you are in your comfy familiar house surrounded by your favorite knickknacks and let someone else chip in on the bills. It's like having a roommate, but you're the one calling the shots, and trust me, at our age we've earned the right to be the boss of something, right? So how does this work? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You've got that extra room. Maybe it's the one your kids used to sleep in before they moved out and left you with a closet full of their old baseball trophies. You spruce it up a little, maybe slap on a fresh coat of paint or toss in a lamp that doesn't flicker like a horror movie. Then you list it on a site like roommates.com or even Airbnb. If you're feeling fancy, the average room rental in the US brings in $500 to $1,000 a month depending on where you live. That's real money, folks, enough to cover your utilities, pay down the mortgage, or finally book that trip to Vegas you've been daydreaming about since the grandkids started walking. And here's the kicker, you're not moving anywhere. You're still in your own home, sipping coffee from your favorite mug and watching the birds out your kitchen window. No packing up your life, no nursing home paperwork, just you and a little extra jingle in your pocket. I've got a friend named Marge. She's 75 and she's been house hacking for years. She rents out her guest room to a nice young lady who works at the local library. Marge told me she's got company when she wants it, cash when she needs it, and someone to water her plants when she decides to visit her sister for a week. She said it's like having a built-in helper without the guilt of asking her kids to do it. Plus, Marge gets a kick out of teaching her renter how to make her famous banana bread. It's a win-win, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than shelling out $50 grand a year for a nursing home where the only excitement is when they switch the Jell-O flavor. So think about it, economical because you're using what you already own, happy because you're still the king or queen of your castle. Could you see yourself playing landlord for a little extra dough? Now let's get real for a second. Some of you might be thinking, but what if I get a weirdo who leaves socks everywhere or tries to borrow my good scissors? Don't worry, you're in control here. You can screen your renters, ask for references, or even meet them over coffee to make sure they're not the type to throw wild parties on a Tuesday. I mean, we've all seen enough Judge Judy to know how to spot a troublemaker, right? And if you're not up for a full-time tenant, you could try short-term rentals instead. Let a tourist crash for a weekend and then have the place to yourself again. My buddy Frank tried that and made enough in one summer to buy a new recliner, and let me tell you, that chair is so comfy he's thinking of renting out another room just to upgrade his TV. So house hacking is all about flexibility. It's your house, your rules, and your chance to keep living large without breaking the bank. What do you think? Could this be your golden ticket to a happier wallet? Sixth. Alright folks, we've made it to our sixth and final better solution than nursing homes, and trust me, I've saved the wildest for last. RV living. That's right, I'm talking about trading in those four boring walls for four wheels and hitting the open road. Now I can already hear some of you saying, hold up, I'm too old to be driving around like some hippie chasing Woodstock, or I can't picture myself in a camper with a ponytail and a tie-dye shirt. But let me tell you, RV living isn't just for the flower children or those retirees who think they're starring in a road trip movie. It's a real honest-to-goodness way to live that's affordable, freeing, and a whole lot of fun. Imagine this, you wake up to a sunrise over a lake one day, then a mountain view the next, all without ever having to deal with a nosy HOA or a landlord who can't fix a leaky faucet. It's just you, your trusty RV, and the great big world out there waiting to be explored. So how does RV living actually work? Well, it's simpler than you might think. You can pick up a used RV for anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000 depending on whether you want something basic or a little fancier with a shower that doesn't feel like a phone booth. Once you've got your rig, you're in charge of where it takes you. Park it at a campground for about $20 a night, or if you're feeling extra thrifty, find some public land and boondock for free. That's right, no rent, no property taxes, no nursing home fees, just the cost of gas and maybe a bag of marshmallows for the campfire. And don't worry about being too old to drive these things. Modern RVs are easier to handle than you'd expect, and plenty of folks in their 70s and 80s are out there cruising along. I met Clara, she's 83 and has been RVing for 5 years. She told me she's seen more of this country than she ever dreamed, from the Grand Canyon to the beaches of Florida, and she doesn't miss her old couch one bit. Clara said her favorite part is the freedom. Every day is a new adventure, and she's not stuck eating the same bland soup from a nursing home menu. Now let's talk money, because that's a biggie. Nursing homes can drain your savings faster than a grandkid with a candy store gift card, but RV living keeps it light on the wallet. Once you've bought your RV, your biggest expenses are fuel and parking, and even those can be dirt cheap if you plan it right. Some folks sell their house to fund the RV life, others rent it out for extra cash. Either way, you're not shelling out 50 or 100 grand a year for a tiny room with a view of a parking lot. Plus, There's a whole community out there. RV parks are full of friendly faces who love swapping tips and stories. Think of it like a traveling senior village where everyone's got a rig and a tale to tell. And if you're worried about comfort, today's RVs come with kitchens, bathrooms, even little living rooms, so you're not roughing it unless you want it. Clara's got a setup with a comfy bed and a TV. She says it's like a tiny house on wheels, only better because she can park it wherever the sunset looks prettiest. But here's what really makes RV living special: it keeps life exciting. Who says adventure has to stop at 65 or 70 or 80? This is your chance to see the places you've always talked about, to chase that horizon and live on your terms. I mean, imagine telling your grandkids you camped under the stars in Yellowstone or caught a fish bigger than their backpack. That's the kind of legacy that beats sitting in a rocking chair counting ceiling tiles. And if you're thinking I'd miss my stuff, well, RVs have storage, and you'd be surprised how little you need when you're too busy having fun. So could you picture yourself behind the wheel of an RV, trading the nursing home blues for a life of open roads and new views? It's economical, it's happy, and it's one heck of a ride. Well, folks, that's our sixth solution, and we've covered a lot of ground today. From co-housing to RV living, we've found 6 ways to keep your golden years golden without breaking the bank or your spirit. I hope you found something here that sparks a little excitement, maybe even a plan for your next chapter. So let's wrap this up with a big thank you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to check out more of our videos. We have plenty of inspiring and powerful stories waiting for you. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to check out more of our videos. We have plenty of inspiring and powerful stories waiting for you. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.